Hi everybody, and welcome to Lindsey's TV. My name is Heather Lindsey.
My name is Cornelius Lindsey. And so we're going to talk today about engagement.
Yes.
This is like engagement season for everybody. Everybody getting engaged. But you know, we don't have much room to talk because in December 25th of 2009, so Christmas Day of 2009, I proposed to my then courter, my girlfriend, and asked her to marry me.
Yay! It was so sweet. It was so precious, and I felt like it was coming because when we first started courting, you said 1 year, exactly. Yeah. 1 year, and I knew he was a man of his word, so I was like, 1 year, all right. And it was 6 days. No, actually, it was 10 days short of 1 year.
Yeah, I didn't know all those details, but nonetheless, like, you know, trying to plan that whole thing out was. Ooh, like trying to get her, like trying to surprise her with that was a lot more than what I thought it was going to take. But ultimately, I was able to pull that off, and we actually have a great video to show right now of the engagement process.
Come back, so funny how she thinks she's so in control. No.
You can tell with nerves.
Here we
go. Oh, what is he doing?
He
nervous.
got a Bible?
This was Agatha's idea. This was your mom's idea.
This is whose idea?
Agatha's idea.
To do what? Now what am I doing?
I don't know. I don't know. What you guys was
This is what I want to see right here. I'm back.
Crying is not crying. The Bible says he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So, I believe I found a good thing. Heather, Kent, you married me.
Honey, you tricked me. You actually. Oh my God, you guys got me. Now you're supposed to put it on.
Hold on. Say something. Nadja. She's here. Like,
Oh my gosh, I am so excited.
she said yes.
Oh my gosh.
Lord Jesus. This girl right here had me in CVS thinking she trying to trick me.
I can't stop.
Okay, right? You guys all knew about this?
Yes.
You're easy to trick.
You asked me questions. I'm like,
I know.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
just have to go to the luggage.
This is like 30 feet away.
It was like, what?
30 feet away.
Alright. You know this.
Oh, shoot. Bible says. It's over. That's
Alright.
fun.
I mean, trying to plan this whole thing out with her, trying to see her reaction and stuff like that, it was a lot. But I mean, it was a lot of our story that kind of went in beforehand that kind of really sets up the whole story as to why this engagement meant so much to us and also meant so much to other people.
What was also really funny is in November, I remember the Lord told me to send him a ring. And we weren't talking about engagement or anything. And I had no idea that he was actually looking. But I sent him the ring that I wanted because I was like, I know Cornelius. He's just going to kind of go and be like, well, I don't know what you want, so I'm just going to get something. And I'm like, actually, if I'm going to wear it, I want to like it. And at this point, I'm like, who cares? If it would have been like a gold band, I would have loved it. I actually want a gold band. That's a good idea. You should give me a gold band. Something like
Child,
honest,
we just got
thick,
you a ring.
No, hold on. I want like a thick gold band. You know
I
what I mean?
want one
Something
too.
more like chill, because I think sometimes you get so focused on like the ring size, and some folks can't afford it, right? And then they go into their wedding with debt,
That's
and they're
true.
paying on
That's
a ring
true.
that they can't afford,
Yeah.
and then they wonder why they're stressed out.
Yeah. When I never forget when I was out searching for the ring. I take that back. I wasn't out searching for a ring. So every Saturday I had a routine. My routine was I go and I get a haircut. My haircut appointment was at 8:30 a.m. I went out and got a haircut. After that, I would go to the mall. I get me I would have to buy me a tie. I'd probably buy me a new, white crisp business shirt, and I would buy a suit or something. It was just that day I wasn't really feeling. I didn't buy anything from the mall. I kind of left the mall. Probably around 11:30. I was driving back home. I just felt God compelled me to say, "Hey, I want you to go around town. I'm driving around. I see this jeweler." And I felt him compel upon my heart to go inside. I go inside to the jeweler, and I'm looking at these rings, and they're like, "Hey, so what are you looking for?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just looking. I just felt compelled to come in here." And I walk over and I see this ring.
It was a cushion ring, which
It was
is
a
what I
cushion
sent
ring.
him a photo of.
And I'm like, I believe this is the ring I need to buy. And the guy was like, yeah, I feel like it is the ring you need to buy. And I'm like, well, my only issue is I don't want to go into debt buying it. I see the price of it. I'm not sure if I really want it. He looked at me and he was like, so how much? He said, how much are you willing to pay? I looked at him and I said, well, all I can afford to pay is, and I gave him the amount. And he was like, well, I have to go in the back. I got to consult. Well, you know how they do. I had to go and consult some people. He goes in the back, he consults, he comes back. He says, how about you do this? And he kind of gave me a price that was $300 more than what I could afford. I looked at him and I said, it's a very hard line number. I love the ring. If it's for me, it's for me. If not, it's fine. He said, well, let me go in the back. He went in the back, he came back out. He said, listen, we don't usually do this, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you the ring for the exact amount that you want it for. He said, in fact, I'm going to do it lower than that so that the taxes and stuff would equal the amount of what you have. And that was the cash that I had. So before I had it, I'm freaking out in a jeweler store. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know if this is the right one. I'm like, okay, God, are you really leading me the right way? I called my sister up to come and look at the ring. My sister's like, you got to buy this one. That is the one she would love. I ended up, I bought the ring, and the rest was history.
Yay. So it's so funny because right after that, I feel like we got attacked.
Yeah.
Really hardcore. And I think people that get engaged get surprised.
Yeah.
That they're going through all these tests and trials all of a sudden. Why do you think people go through that?
I think it's just the nature of the beast. I think, relationships, you have different trials, tribulations, and tests that you have to accomplish with each other.
Yeah.
And passing each one allows for the two of you to begin to mature and to grow. The closer two things come together, like when you're trying to weld metal and iron and stuff like that, when you're trying to weld it together, the closer it comes together, the more friction it has the potential of creating. So with engagement, the closer the two of you are starting to come together, unfortunately, the more friction you have. And then when you two get married and you find yourself living together, you really start to sense a lot of friction. Like you say, we fight more now when we're married than when we did when we were engaged, when we were courting. I feel like we were having fun. Well, that's because the closer you get to somebody, the more friction you begin to create. And And I mean, and then the other spiritual part of that is I don't believe the enemy wants two God-loving people to be in a relationship with each other. He doesn't want two folks who are equally yoked to be in a relationship together.
Yeah. No, I agree. We got hit with so many tests.
Yeah.
And I had to practice certain things like submission. And I was not good at submission whatsoever. I did false submission. And I'd be like, yeah, I got you. And I learned that maybe I need to communicate more.
So what would you say would be like the top 3 things you learned in our engagement?
The first thing I learned was that you go on a destination wedding. Because all them folks that ate at my wedding, and if you're watching this, no, I'm just kidding. We don't really talk to them anymore.
No, we don't.
It's so crazy how seasons in your life change after you get engaged and married and move away. Maybe you have situational friendships per se. But nonetheless, I moved away and we don't really have any of those same friends. And I feel like the wedding was for everybody else. And I was stressed out. We couldn't enjoy it. I remember breaking down and crying at our rehearsal dinner because I was so stressed. So I would have rather just gone to some beach destination and saved money. That was the first one. Second one is something I wish I would have learned during that time was just to enjoy the journey in the process. You know what I mean? It's just like you're trying to fast forward. I just want to be married. I just want to, but God still wants to use that season as a single because you're not married yet, instead of rushing ahead of Him. And the third thing is, I wish I would have understood and learned is that you weren't my enemy. You know what I mean? And there'd be times where I'd get so upset with you. You're not listening to me. You're frustrating me. But it's like, we're about to yoke ourselves together and be one in marriage. And I feel like I could have gotten an opportunity to learn more as far as like, you know, trusting your judgment, trusting your leadership. Because I'm like, I want to put $4 candles on every single table, but I need like 5 candles per. I mean, simple, stupid stuff that was so important is so meaningless. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would you say would be that one big thing that if you can go back and you can change, what would that one big thing be?
Probably marry you sooner. I mean, because we knew that, I mean, we waited to kiss to our wedding day, so it was 1 year and 8 months, but we got some wise counsel from somebody and they said, well, you guys need to wait to get married until you move down to Atlanta, you get a job. So I'm interviewing for jobs, making half the salary that I was making in New York City. Nothing was working out. I was frustrated. We kept pushing our wedding date and that was really annoying. And then we met with another pastor and he said, what? Y'all need to walk by faith. Just give them your notice. Yeah. And we did, and I ended up taking my New York job with me to Atlanta. So, I would have married you so much faster. What about you?
Well, my 3 things, my first one, I'm stealing one from yours, would be to enjoy the journey. Because the journey can be stressful, and sometimes you forget that, you know what, I'm still being tested in the midst of this journey, and I still need to pass these tests that I have in this journey, and there's still some enjoyable things and enjoyable moments I can have within this journey. The second thing I would say, I would say enjoy the journey. One of the big things that I learned in the engagement process was stay teachable. Yeah. Like one of the things that we did is we like to go out with other couples, not just other couples, not just other engaged couples or couples who were just, you know, other courting couples. We went out with married couples. And I remember when we were like, hey, you know, not just married couples, we want to go out with married couples with kids. Because we both wanted to have children one day. And you know, you ever heard that old saying that you will become who you hang around? Yeah. So we wanted to kind of learn the mindset of those couples who were at a different level of life than we were. So I'd say enjoy the journey. I would. The other thing was staying around other couples, and then the other part of that was really sticking with those boundaries. Mm-hmm. You know, really knowing. Boundaries were huge for our marriage. Like my wife said, you know, we waited 1 year and 8 months to kiss before our wedding day. But the boundaries were huge. And it was like, you know, just certain things we could do, certain things we couldn't do. We both knew the machinery worked. We didn't want to continue trying to operate it. It's just, it was what it was.
What were some of our quick boundaries?
One of our boundaries was at 9:30 p.m. We got off the phone. We didn't talk. It was like our
curfew.
Yeah, our curfew was at 9:30 p.m. When she lived in New York, I lived in Atlanta, so we had a long distance relationship. When she came down to Atlanta, she didn't stay in my house. Instead, in the beginning, before we got engaged, she actually would
go get a hotel room
and a rental car. And then I would stay in my house, and then when we got engaged, she would come stay in my house, and I would go and I would stay with this other couple who kept us accountable, and I would stay with them.
But he wasn't coming up to my hotel room. Even when he was coming to pick me up, he would wait at valet.
Yeah.
So he was staying away from the appearance of evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we had the curfew time of 9:30. We always made sure that we
sleep under
had
the same roof,
accountable. I mean, you just had to be accountable to somebody,
Yeah.
and that was with our pastor. That was also with other couples who we were
no
around.
movies.
We didn't do movies like
Nope.
that like intimate events. We couldn't get into those because, I mean, you already know what happens
wanna
late at
cuddle,
night, 10 o'clock at night.
yeah.
You know, you trying to go see a movie real quick, whatever. Then all of a sudden you in the movies and you like, hey
You
girl,
like, hey.
what up, though?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you find yourself in church on Sunday like, God, I repent, and you
so
just
sorry.
yeah, you
I'm
just
not
keep
saying.
yourself from those things. But those are the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think the one big thing, if I could improve, if I can go back, it would be one of the things that you mentioned, and that would have been the destination wedding. If I can go
Not
back,
playing.
I would have done a destination wedding because I had 7 guys stand next to me.
Don't get this started.
7 guys stand next to me in my wedding, and to this date, I talked to
One of them?
one of them,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, what, bro? Like, you know.
I actually talked to 5 of mine, or 6 of mine.
But I didn't realize this back then. One of the most important things is that you have to understand the people who stand with you on your wedding day, they have a special responsibility to hold your marriage to a very high standard, to keep the two of you from divorce. Those should be the people you run to first. And ultimately, I didn't find that in the guys who I when I stood with. You know, my wife has found that with some of the ladies that she has standing with her, which has been amazing. I would just say, if you're engaged out there, make sure you're not just putting somebody up there because you're friends today or y'all like each other right now.
Yeah.
You need to go based on true wisdom and true experience and true leading of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So I hope that you're encouraged by this video. Make sure you subscribe and check out our other videos.
Thank you so much. God
Merry
bless you.
Christmas. Thank you for tuning in to Lindsey's TV.